Alright guys, welcome to Flavio Ariana's MMA show. I'm your host, Flavio Ariana, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. Me oh my guys, me oh my. Alright, UFC 261 is officially in the books. Alright, it happened last night. Didn't get a chance to put anything out immediately because I had work. And enjoying all the fruits and labors that came along with UFC 261. Wow guys, that was such a great main card. Alright, I got to see bits and pieces of the prelims. The first fight, banger. All right, can't pronounce the name. I know it was the female from China. Her name was Na. A Brazilian fighter. I think her name was Castronobi or something like that. Great fight. The Molina fight, which is one fight of the night. Amazing fight. Molina shows great boxing. Just Molina. If I gotta say one thing, dude, gotta get used to wearing a mouth guard, all right? Because probably would have got dropped if he didn't have the mouth guard on at the ending of the third round. But great fight in all right? The Vargas fight, Vargas, showed that, showboating wasn't the way to go. Unlike his opponent was showboating. Vargas was just throwing combinations of 5, 6, 7 punches in a row. Got the victory. But we're here to talk about the main card. We're here to talk about the main card, the pay-per-view, all right? Starting off with the main event, yes. Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal, part 2, okay? Part 2. So they both had fought back in International Fight Week of last year at UFC 251 in Abu Dhabi on Fight Island. And Kamaru Usman ended up winning the fight 50-45, won all 5 rounds. All right. Was it the most entertaining fight? No, it was not. All right. If I call Javier right now, Javier is still bitter about that, and he will never forgive him. I know people that will never forgive Kamaru Usman for that, and that's one of the reasons why they dislike him so much. And I completely understand, because think about it. $65-$70 is a lot of money to spend on a pay-per-view. All right. And if you try to add that up consistently for every single pay-per-view, it does add up. So, and since that was the main event and Jorge Masvidal was finally getting his title shot after many years of trying to capture some gold, he failed the first time, and told Dana White, hey, give me 6 weeks and I will be able to beat this guy. Well, the fight was offered, all right? Masvidal got 6 weeks notice. Usman got 6 weeks notice. All right, so now we are. Usman versus Mazudo part 2, all right, the rematch. And in my live stream, I ended up announcing that I had Jorge Masvidal winning, all right. I ended up reaching out to MMA Fighting, and I specifically had told Alex K. Lee, which you could probably hear in his podcast. I reached out to him, via Twitter, and I told him, hey, Masvidal's gonna win. He's gonna win by TKO. Man, was I wrong, all right? I think we got to start and I was wrong. Usman showed that he is just much superior than Masvidal. That 6 week notice that Masvidal wanted, well, like I said, Usman got 6 weeks notice too. It's not like he got less notice, but he got 6 weeks notice to prepare. I have a feeling that Trevor Whitman just develops fighters like crazy. All right, it's just more to the striking. I know Usman going into Colorado after switching camps from Sanford MMA in Florida, going to the other side of the country in Colorado, training with Trevor Whitman, showed that his striking improved severely. Okay, and at first round, it was a close round. I gave it to Usman. You could have gave it to Masvidal, but Masvidal finished strong in the ending of the first round. Second round explains why I'm saying Trevor Whitman is developing monsters in Colorado, because he landed a clean right hook, putting Masvidal to sleep. I mean, the last time Masvidal has ever been knocked out was in 2008, and we're now in 2021. So do the math right there, all right? Do the math. And wow, I mean, put to sleep, clean right hook right into the chin, knocking him out. The momentum took him where his head ended up snapping, hitting his shoulder, collapsing on the floor, and then Usman ended up landing an extra 5 more punches on the ground. Usman, I will say this. I think we got to start, respecting Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is developing his game. He's not just a grappler. I mean, he has showed that in the Gilbert Burns fight where he had, knocked out Burns, right? I feel like in the Burns fight, he was a little bit reluctant on wanting to take that fight into the ground because Burns was his former training partner, and Burns is a superior black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which he would have been able to submit Usman, and I believe that Burns wanted to do that. Masvidal, on the other hand, he's a street fighter, he's a brawler, all right? He's a box, he knows how to box, and he's going to rely on his striking. He was not going to show no threat whatsoever with the wrestling department. I sincerely do feel like Usman was listening to the critics, listening to the fans, right? Saying, how bad that fight was back in July when they fought on International Fight Week. And was like, you know what? We're going to go, in his realm. We're going to box, all right? We're going to strike. We're going to go at it with one another, all right? And he relied on Trevor Whitman's, game plan, and it worked out. It worked out. He landed that good, clean punch leading into a knockout. Was not expecting that whatsoever. I thought if Usman was going to win, Usman was going to grind it out for 25 minutes. I felt like Masvidal needed to knock out Usman to capture the belt for the very first time in his career, but he was unsuccessful. So what's next for Kamaru Usman? Well, Dana White had said it. It is Colby Covington. Colby Covington gets next, all right? Regardless, I thought it would have been the winner of Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz. I thought possibly the winner of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Gilbert Burns. Nope, it is Colby Covington and Colby Covington only, all right? Many people in the welterweight division are not happy about that, but too bad, so sad, sucks to be you. Colby Covington is next, and that is a fight to make. It's going to be the biggest fight for Kamaru Usman because there's a rivalry, between them two. The first fight was spectacular. It was one of the best fights I personally have ever seen. Okay, now you're putting Covington versus Usman Part 2. Let's see how Usman is going to be able to translate that fight. Translate his game plan that he has gotten with Whitman to Covington, because Covington was brawling out. And it took until the 5th round to knock down Covington. Is Usman developed that much that he could be able to finish Covington early? Or has Covington improved grand by going to MMA Masters and training and improving on his jiu-jitsu, improving onto his striking? All right, let's see how that has gone. I feel like both fighters have grown, as better fighters since they last fought on December 2019. Let's see what happens next, all right? So that's what happened. As for Masvidal, I suggest that Masvidal take some time off. He's not going to get another title shot as long as Usman is a champion. I certainly do feel like they can play the whoever loses or whoever wins against, Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz. Masvidal gets next. Or it might just sound better whoever loses, because the winner is probably going to want a title shot. I think that Nate Diaz most likely is not going to be able to beat Leon Edwards in a 5-round fight, but to each his own. We don't know as of yet. So I think that's the direction they're going to go. There was some rambles about Nick Diaz possibly returning. So is that what Dana White might do? Mazudo versus Nick Diaz in his return. Who knows? That's a great fight. That would definitely sell. All right, Mazudo has a large, following fan base. Nick Diaz has a huge fan base too. Both are mega superstars. Nick Diaz is a big draw, so it's a very well-known name. So we'll see what happens. But moving on into the co-main event, Zhang Weili versus Rose Namajunas. Right, Zhang Weili had an epic fight and a grand, phenomenal fight against Joanna Jędrzejczyk right before the pandemic had hit in the United States, and it easily was fight of the year. All right, so many punches were thrown in that fight, and this is the first time that we're seeing Zhang Weili versus fighting since she had fought Joanna. All right, Joanna still hasn't been seen since that fight. Now, Rose Namajunas, last time she fought, July International Fight Week against Jessica Andraj. All right, walked out with a black and blue eye, but she got the victory. Now she was going to get next for the title shot. Title shot is made. Trevor Whitman, again, he's creating monsters. Rose Namajunas is a phenomenal striker, right? Phenomenal striker. And Zhang Weili is in a boat rush. So I predicted that Rose was going to win by decision, because she was going to be able to outbox Zhang Weili, but that wasn't the case. The fight ended in the first round. And Rose was moving back and forth, in and out, trying to create, spacing, creating angles on where to hit Zhang Weili. Zhang was not moving whatsoever, creating an opening for a high leg kick for Rose Namajunas, knocking down Zhang Weili on the back of her head, and Rose capitalizing on ground and pound, becoming the first UFC woman fighter to ever recapture a title, all right, in UFC history. That was phenomenal stuff. I didn't think that fight was going to end so quickly, but here's my intake on possibly why Zhang Weili lost on Saturday. Reason being, the Stipe Miocic factor, and this is why I'm going to say Stipe, right, took a huge beating against Francis Ngannou the first time they had fought, right? Fights Daniel Cormier on, I want to say, 4 or 5 months after he had fought, after he fought Francis Ngannou. Daniel Cormier catches Stipe with a clean right hook onto the jaw, dropping him instantly, all right? That's the first thing that came through my head. And I'm going to relate that with Zhang Weili. Zhang Weili battled it out with Joanna Jędrzejczyk for 25 minutes, absorbing numerous amount of punches, all right? And Rose catches her right on the side of the jaw, and Zhang Weili legs give out, collapse, all right? And falls back, hits the back of her head, and at that point, she had no control of her posture, of her stability whatsoever. She was out. And there was nothing about it. She tried to protest the fight, but Zhang Weili couldn't even stand up straight after that. Her knees were buckling, her ankles were buckling. She had to hold on to the cage in order to get some stability. So what's gonna happen next? Well, I personally do think that the rematch is the right decision to do. I think Zhang Weili versus Rose Namajunas should be the fight to make as the rematch. If that's the case, then look, we are in for a treat, all right? Because I still think that Rose versus Zhang Weili will be a banger. But in part 2, do I really believe that somebody's going to get knocked out in the first round? No. I think it might go as minimum 3 rounds, as most as 5 rounds. So that's what I have on that. All right. Now go on into the third title fight. All right. The first title fight of the card. You're going to have Valentina Shivchenko versus Jessica Andraj. Right. Now, I'm a big Valentina fan. All right. And we really support Valentina Shevchenko in this household. And I picked it to win. But I was heavily wrong, all right? Because Valentina Shevchenko showed why she is the best, if not one of the best women fighters in history, all right? There is nobody close to her in the flyweight division at the level of Valentina Shevchenko. She created such a wide gap from her to the next person, all right? It is like oceans far apart from the levels of Valentina versus, the second, best women's flyweight in the world. And she dominated. She took offense to the fact that there were critics saying that she wasn't going to be that good on the ground because Jennifer Maia ended up exposing her while she was on her back. I certainly started to believe that myself too. I'm like, well, if Jessica can get her on the ground and control top mount position, she might be able to create a long night for Valentina. Wow, was I really stupid because of the fact that the first thing Valentina wanted to do was she wanted to wrestle. She wanted to show, hey, I can wrestle with the best of them. I can grapple with the best of them, and I can control them. All right. She ended up tying a record of 7 takedowns, and took down Jessica at ease. All right. She made Jessica deflated after Jessica tried to lift her up and slam her, and Valentina was not having it whatsoever. All right, dominating the ground position, dominating the striking. All right, she was controlling the pace, fighting within range, and doing everything possible, showing that there is no weaknesses in Valentina Shevchenko. Wherever she wants to fight, she'll take the fight into that place. If she wants to take it to the ground, she'll take it to the ground. If she wants to strike with you, she'll strike with you. Either way, there is no way of beating Valentina Shevchenko, all right, at 125. Maybe if she goes to 135, you might be able to experience some holes in her game. But as a 125er, nah, there's nobody beating Valentina Shivchenko. Now, what's gonna happen next for Valentina Shivchenko? It might be, Lauren Murphy. It might be Cynthia Calvillo. It might be the winner of. It might be Viviane Araujo if she's able to get past Katlyn Chookagian. And no, Katlyn Chookagian is not getting the title shot. All right. Valentina ended up destroying her in 2 rounds. So no way that Katlyn Chookagian, even if she beats Viviane on May 15th, she gets a title shot. What happens with Jessica Andraj? Well, I feel like Jessica Andraj is going to be on the back of the line, moving on to the next opponent. Maybe she might have to face, Katlyn Chookagian if Chookagian loses. Maybe she might have to fight Jessica I, or whoever wins the Maya versus Jessica I fight on July 10th. So there might be plenty of options. Or if anything, she might be able to drop back down to 115, fight Rose, get the trilogy. That might be the smart way to go if I'm Jessica Andraj. All right, and then the first two fights on the main card. Jimmy Crute versus Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith was establishing the jab. Leg kick ended up stunning. Jimmy Crute, hitting a nerve spot, and his leg kind of gave out. His ankle rolled. His foot looked like it was backwards. It was weird, and the fight had to get stopped because there was no way that Jimmy Crute was gonna be able to walk. His leg was giving out, and it was a doctor stoppage knockout. Well, it's a doctor stoppage victory for Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith was anyway winning that round, dominating the jab, dominating the striking department, leaving such swelling on Jimmy Crute. But Jimmy Crute's a tough guy. He'll be able to recover at a young age of 25 years old. I think that there's 4 more years ahead of him. It just wasn't his time to beat Anthony Smith. But it was a freak accident that he ended up hitting the nerve, which ended up giving out his leg. But lastly, we have Chris Weidman versus Uriah Hall. Oh my. I said it, explaining that what happened to Jimmy Crute was a freak accident. And then I explained that Chris Weidman, is more famous of checking the Anderson Silva leg kick, causing him to break his leg. Shortly 5 minutes after I had said that, Chris Weidman breaks his leg. And I really hope that he's okay. I heard that surgery is officially successful, but I don't think that we should be, hoping that he returns. We want him to get a very speedy recovery. It was a nasty, check of the leg, and Uriah Hall handled it best, and I just really hope that Weidman is able to recover from this. If I'm him, I would retire, but I'm not 100% sure what Chris Weidman wants to do at this point. But yeah, guys, so that's what happened. Killer of a card, all right. First 2 fights of the main card ended in a freak accident by his leg injuries. Valentina ended up dominating the Jessica Andraj fight, winning by TKO via of a crucifix and elbows. Rose Namajunas wins the fight in less than 80 seconds by a high leg kick, leading to ground and pound. And Kamaru Usman ends up beating Jorge Masvidal with a right hook in the second round, knocking out Jorge Masvidal. So yeah, guys, that's what happened. I'm going to talk about later in this week Israel Adesanya and Marvin Vettori. That fight got announced, and plenty of more stuff. Until then, guys, thank you for tuning in to Flav Oriana's MMA show. I'm your host, Flav Oriana, and I will see you guys later this week. No video tomorrow, no video on Tuesday. Talk to you guys at a later date. Peace, guys, and have a good one.